I thought I knew my wife until I caught her at a party wearing my dead brother's ring while betraying everything her family stood for. What I discover about her secret life and the underground network helping married women cheat will shock you. This isn't just about infidelity. It's about a business built on destroying families. My name is Arthur Reynolds. I'm 42 years old, and this is the story of how I discovered that the woman I trusted with everything had been playing a game I didn't even know existed. I met Alara 12 years ago at a tech conference in Denver. She was working for a marketing firm, and I was expanding my co-working spaces beyond the 2 locations I'd inherited from my father. She had this energy that could light up a room and make you feel like you were the only person in it. Within 6 months, we were living together. Within 2 years, we were married with our first kid on the way. We built a good life together. I expanded the co-working business to 6 locations across Colorado, and Alara started her own event planning company. When Isabel was born, then Felix 3 years later, everything seemed perfect. We had a house in the suburbs, 2 cars, college funds for the kids, the American dream. Then my brother Liam died in that motorcycle accident 2 years ago. One minute he's texting me about bringing his son Hugo to our 4th of July barbecue. The next minute, I'm getting a call from Denver General telling me he's gone. Liam was only 40, a single dad raising Hugo since his ex-wife moved to California. Taking in Hugo wasn't even a question. Liam had been my business partner in the IT consulting side of our operations and my best friend. Hugo was traumatized, barely speaking for 3 months. The kid had lost everything. That's when the changes started with Alara. She'd always been social, but after Hugo came to live with us, she started going out more. "I need space to breathe," she'd say. "3 kids is a lot, Arthur. I need my friends now more than ever." At first, I got it. We went from 2 kids to 3 overnight. And Hugo needed therapy, special attention, patience we were all learning to find. But looking back, I think taking in Hugo just gave Alara the excuse she'd been looking for to start building a life that didn't include her family. If I'd known then what I know now, I would have paid more attention to the credit card statements I was too busy to check. I would have asked more questions about these new friends she was always meeting for drinks. I would have noticed that she started caring more about her appearance when she went out than when she stayed home with us. But I trusted her. After all, we'd been through everything together. I thought that kind of partnership meant something. I was wrong about a lot of things. The first major red flag came about 6 months after Hugo moved in with us. I was going through Liam's personal belongings, trying to decide what to keep for Hugo when he got older. Most of it was painful to sort through. Photos, letters, his cologne that still smelled like him. But then I found our father's ring. It was this old gold band that had belonged to my grandfather, then my dad, then Liam as the older brother. Dad had given it to Liam when he turned 21, and Liam had worn it every day since. It wasn't a wedding ring exactly, but it meant family, tradition, legacy. Liam used to joke that whoever got the ring was responsible for keeping the Harrison name going strong. When I showed it to Alara, she got tears in her eyes. "Arthur," she said, "this should go to Hugo when he's older, right? It's his father's ring." I've been thinking the same thing, but Hugo was only 9. Too young to understand what it meant. Too young to take care of something so important. "I was thinking," I told her, "maybe you could hold on to it for him. Keep it safe until he's ready." The way Alara's face lit up, you'd have thought I'd just proposed all over again. She slipped it onto her right hand. It was too big for any other finger and promised she'd guard it with her life. "This is Liam's legacy," she said. "I'll make sure Hugo knows how much his father loved him." That moment felt like everything was going to be okay. We were a family taking care of each other, honoring Liam's memory together. Alara wore that ring every day for months. And whenever Hugo asked about his dad, she'd show him the ring and tell him stories Liam had shared about her grandfather. But then the bills started piling up. Hugo's therapy wasn't cheap, and Isabel needed orthodontics. Business was good, but 3 kids cost more than 2, and Alara's event planning company was struggling after losing 2 major clients. The stress was getting to both of us. That's when I discovered the credit card. Alara had opened it without telling me, and she'd racked up almost $15,000 in charges. Clothes, restaurants, spa treatments, Things we definitely couldn't afford with everything else going on. Alara, I said when I confronted her about it. What the hell is this? I needed some space to breathe, Alara replied, getting defensive immediately. Do you know how hard it's been for me? 3 kids, a struggling business, everyone expecting me to just handle everything perfectly. We handle things together, I told her. That's what marriage means. You don't get to make financial decisions that affect our whole family without talking to me first. She rolled her eyes like I was being unreasonable. You're always working, Arthur. When exactly was I supposed to have this conversation with you? You come home exhausted every night and barely have energy for the kids, let alone discussing my feelings. That stung because it had some truth to it. I was working more trying to make sure we could afford everything our expanded family needed. But that didn't excuse hiding major debt for me. We'll figure this out. But no more secret spending. We're a team or nothing. She agreed, apologized, promised it wouldn't happen again. I believed her because I wanted to believe her, because when someone you love looks you in the eye and swears they'll do better, you give them that chance. I should have paid more attention to how she twisted the conversation to make me feel guilty for working hard to support our family. Things were quiet for about 3 months after the credit card incident. Alara seemed to be making an effort. She was home more, spent time helping Hugo with his homework, and even started cooking dinner a few nights a week. I thought we'd turn a corner. Then she met Sylvie Dubois at some networking event for local business owners. Sylvie was everything Alara aspired to be. Successful, well-connected, and single with no kids tying her down. She owned a boutique marketing agency and drove a BMW that costs more than most people's annual salary. Sylvie's been so helpful with growing my business, Alara told me one evening. She knows everyone in Denver. She's introducing me to potential clients I never would have met on my own. At first, I was supportive. Alara's event planning company needed the boost. And if Sylvie could help her land bigger clients, that would solve our financial problems. But then the late night started. Sylvie's taking me to this industry mixer, Alara would say, getting dressed up like she was going to nightclub instead of a business event. These things always run late, but the connections are worth it. She'd come home after midnight slightly tipsy and talking about all the important people she'd met. The next morning, she'd be too tired to help get the kids ready for school, leaving me to handle breakfast, lunches, and the morning rush alone. One Thursday night, I decided to drive by the address she'd given me for one of these industry events. It was a trendy bar downtown, and through the windows, I could see Alara and Sylvie at a high-top table with 2 men I didn't recognize. They weren't talking business. They were laughing, drinking, and flirting like college girls on spring break. When I confronted her about it the next morning, Alara rolled her eyes. Arthur, you can't separate business from socializing in my industry. Those men were potential clients. Sylvie was teaching me how to network properly by flirting with them. By flirting? I asked. By being personable and memorable, Alara shot back. You wouldn't understand because you sit behind a computer all day. In my business, relationships matter. People work with people they like. I wanted to believe her explanation, but something felt off. The way she'd been laughing with those men, the way she'd been touching one of them on the arm. That wasn't professional networking. That was something else entirely. But I didn't push it because I was walking a tightrope. Push too hard, and I'd be the controlling husband who didn't trust his wife. Don't push hard enough, and I'd be the fool who ignored obvious warning signs. What I should have done was trust my instincts. What I should have realized was that Sylvie wasn't helping Alara grow her business. She was teaching her how to live like a single woman while staying married to a man who paid all the bills. The ring was still on Alara's finger every morning when she left for these networking events. She never forgot to wear Liam's ring, even when she forgot to wear her wedding ring. The call from Isabel's school came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was in a meeting with potential clients for one of our co-working spaces. Ms. Davies, the guidance counselor, asked if Alara and I could come in to discuss some concerns about Isabel's behavior and academic performance. My 13-year-old daughter had always been an A student, responsible and mature beyond her years. If the school was calling, something was seriously wrong. What kind of concerns? I asked, stepping out of the meeting. Isabel's grades have dropped significantly this semester. Ms. Davies explained. More concerning, she's been getting into fights with other students and showing aggressive behavior toward teachers. Yesterday, she threw a book at her math teacher when he asked her to put her phone away. My heart sank. We'll be there tomorrow morning. When I told Alara about the meeting, her reaction wasn't what I expected. Instead of concern for our daughter, she seemed annoyed. I have a client lunch tomorrow, she said. Can't you handle this alone? You're better with the serious parenting stuff anyway. This is about our daughter, Alara. Your client lunch can wait. She sighed dramatically. Fine, but this better not take all morning. Sylvie's introducing me to a potential client who could change everything for my business. The meeting was worse than I'd imagined. Ms. Davies showed us Isabel's recent test scores. All C's and D's from a kid who used to bring home nothing but A's. She'd been caught cheating on a science quiz, had skipped 2 classes entirely, and when confronted about her behavior, had told her English teacher to go to hell. Has there been any major changes at home? Ms. Davies asked, looking between Alara and me. Divorce, financial stress, family illness. Children often act out when they're dealing with instability in their home environment. I glanced at Alara, who was checking her phone instead of paying attention to the conversation. We took in my brother's son after he passed away, I said. It's been an adjustment for everyone. That could certainly be a factor, Ms. Davies nodded. But often children Isabel's age are also very sensitive to tension between parents. They pick up on things adults think they're hiding. After the meeting, I tried to talk to Alara about what we'd heard, but she was already mentally checked out. Kids go through phases, she said dismissively. Isabel's just acting out because she wants attention. She'll get over it. Our daughter is falling apart, and you think she'll just get over it? Don't be so dramatic, Arthur. You're always looking for problems that don't exist. That evening, I sat down with Isabel alone. What's going on, sweetheart? Your mom and I are worried about you. For a moment, I thought she was going to shut me out like she had been for weeks. Then her tough exterior split, and tears started streaming down her face. You and Mom are getting divorced, aren't you? She whispered. What makes you think that? She's never home anymore. You guys barely talk when she's home, and when you do talk, you're fighting. Isabel wiped her nose with her sleeve. Hugo asked me if you were going to send him away like his mom did. I didn't know what to tell him. My 13-year-old daughter was carrying the weight of our family's problems on her shoulders, and I hadn't even noticed. She was trying to be strong for her little brother and her traumatized cousin while watching her parents' marriage fall apart. Hugo is not going anywhere, I told her firmly. He's family, and your mom and I are working through some things, but that doesn't mean we're getting divorced. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it myself. Things came to a head in late April when Sylvie announced she was throwing herself a birthday party. Not just any party, a sophisticated adult gathering at her downtown loft with a guest list that read like Denver's young professional who's who. It's going to be amazing, Alara gushed, showing me the invitation on her phone. Sylvie knows all these successful entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, even some local celebrities. This could be huge for my business. The invitation itself was a red flag. Adults only entertainment, what happens here stays here, and dress to impress weren't phrases you typically saw on legitimate networking events. This was Sylvie's birthday party, not a business mixer. I don't think this is a good idea, I told Alara straight up. This sounds like the kind of party that's going to get out of hand. Arthur, you're being ridiculous, Alara said. But I could see something in her eyes. Excitement mixed with defensiveness. Sylvie's been mentoring me for months. Not showing up to her birthday would be insulting. Then take her out for a nice dinner instead. Celebrate her birthday like an adult, not like you're still in college. That's when Alara's mask slipped a little. Maybe I want to feel like I'm still young sometimes. Maybe I'm tired of being responsible for everyone else's needs all the time. You have 3 kids, Alara. 2 of them are your biological children, and one of them lost his father. Responsibility comes with the territory. And what about what I need? She shot back. When do I get to have fun? When do I get to network and build my career and feel like more than just a wife and mother? I tried to stay calm, but she was talking about our children like they were burdens instead of blessings. You could do all those things without going to parties that are designed to get people into compromising situations. You don't trust me, she said. And there it was. The accusation I've been dreading. It's not about trusting you. It's about putting yourself in situations where bad decisions become easy to make. I'm going to that party, Arthur. With or without your approval. The conversation ended there, but the battle lines have been drawn. Alara was going to Sylvie's party, and nothing I said was going to change her mind. She made her choice, and it wasn't her family. That weekend, I noticed she was trying on different outfits, doing her hair and makeup like she was preparing for something special. She bought new lingerie. I saw the Victoria's Secret bag in her car, and when I asked about it, she said it was for confidence. Confident for what? I asked. Confident for networking, she replied, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. 3 days before the party, I made one last attempt. Alara, I'm asking you not to go. As your husband, as the father of your children, I'm asking you to choose your family over this party. She looked at me for a long moment, and I saw the woman I'd married wrestling with the woman she'd become. For a second, I thought I'd gotten through to her. Then she said, I'm going, Arthur. And if you can't support me in this, then we have bigger problems than you want to admit. The night of Sylvie's party, I tried to act normal for the kids' sake. We ordered pizza, watched a movie, and I helped Hugo with a school project about family trees. He asked me to help him write about his dad, and we spent an hour looking through old photos and sharing memories. Do you think Daddy would be proud of me? Hugo asked as we finished gluing pictures on a poster board. Your dad would be incredibly proud of you. I told him, meaning every word. You're brave, you're kind, and you're working hard in school despite everything you've been through. Do you think he's watching over us? I thought about Liam's ring on Alara's finger and felt sick to my stomach. Yes, buddy. I think he's watching over all of us. Alara left at 7, dressed in a black cocktail dress that was definitely not appropriate for a business networking event. She was wearing the ring, Liam's ring, along with jewelry I didn't recognize and perfume that smelled expensive. Don't wait up, she said. Kissing me on the cheek like this was just another normal evening. These industry things always run late. By 10 o'clock, the kids were in bed and I was trying to watch television, but I couldn't concentrate. Every car that drove down our street made me look up, hoping it was Alara coming home early because she'd realized the party wasn't worth risking our marriage. At 11:30, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a video file, and when I opened it, my world fell apart. The video showed Sylvie's loft, clearly taken by someone at the party. The lighting was dim, and I could hear music and laughter in the background. But what made my blood turn to ice was seeing Alara in the center of the frame, dancing with a man I didn't recognize. His hands were on her waist, her arms were around his neck, and they were moving together like they'd done this before. The second video came 5 minutes later. Same party, same man, but now they were on Sylvie's balcony, and he was kissing my wife. Alara wasn't pulling away or pushing him off. She was kissing him back like her life depended on it. I watched those videos probably 20 times, looking for some explanation that would make this okay. Maybe it wasn't really Alara. Maybe the lighting was playing tricks. Maybe there was context I was missing. But there was no mistaking Liam's ring glinting on her finger as she ran her hands through another man's hair. The third video arrived at midnight. This one was shorter, just 10 seconds, but it showed Alara and the same man heading toward what looked like a bedroom, her hand in his, both of them laughing. I sat in our living room in the house we bought together, surrounded by pictures of our family, and tried to process what I'd just seen. My wife hadn't just gone to a party against my wishes. She'd gone to a party and done exactly what I've been afraid she would do. The person sending the videos was still a mystery, but I had a feeling I'd find out soon enough. Someone at that party wanted me to know what my wife was really doing when she claimed to be networking. At 2:15 a.m., I heard Alara's key in the door. I waited in the living room, my phone in my hand, the videos paused and ready to play. When she walked in, her makeup was smudged, her hair was disheveled, and Liam's ring was still on her finger like some kind of sick joke. How was your networking event? I asked. It was amazing, Alara said, avoiding my eyes as she kicked off her heels. Sylvie really knows how to throw a party. I made so many valuable connections. I held up my phone with the first video paused on the screen. Is this what you call networking? The color drained from her face as she recognized herself dancing with a stranger. For a moment, she was speechless. Then the defensiveness kicked in. "Arthur, that's not what it looks like," she said, but her voice was shaking. "Really? Because it looks like my wife kissing another man while wearing my dead brother's ring." I played the second video. Alara watched herself kissing the stranger on Sylvie's balcony, and I saw her swallow hard. "It was just dancing," she said weakly. "Everyone was drinking. Things got out of hand, but nothing serious happened." "There's a third video," I said quietly, "of you going into a bedroom with him." Alara's face went white. She sat down heavily on our couch, the same couch where we planned our future together, where we talked about taking in Hugo, where we promised to be a family. "Who sent you these?" she asked. "Does it matter? What matters is that you chose to go to that party against my wishes, and you chose to betray our marriage vows." "It was a mistake," she said, starting to cry. "I was drunk and feeling neglected." "Stop," I said firmly. "Don't blame alcohol for decisions you made sober. You bought new lingerie for this party. You planned this." For the first time that night, Alara's mask completely fell off. The tears stopped, and something cold appeared in her eyes. "Fine," she said. "You want the truth? I'm tired of this life, Arthur. I'm tired of being responsible for everyone else's problems all the time. I'm tired of your dead brother's kid living in my house." "Our house," I corrected. "Hugo lives in our house because he's family." "He's not my family," she snapped. "And if you can't accept that I need more than this suffocating life you've trapped me in, then maybe we should discuss other arrangements." "Other arrangements?" Alara stood up and looked at me with something that resembled hatred. "I want you to move out, Arthur. I want space to figure out what I really want. And if you try to fight me on this, I'll make sure you never see those kids again. You're threatening me with my own children." "I'm telling you how this is going to go," she said calmly. "I have evidence of you being controlling and emotionally abusive. Recordings of our fights where you try to isolate me from my friends. Any judge will see that I need protection from your toxic behavior." I stared at this woman I'd loved for 12 years and realized I didn't know her at all. She'd been planning this, recording our private conversations, building a case against me while I was working to support her family. "Pack a bag," she said. "I want you out tonight." I didn't pack a bag. Instead, I walked upstairs and woke up Hugo. "Hey, buddy," I said gently. "I need you to pack some clothes. We're going to stay at Uncle James's house for a while." "What?" Hugo asked, rubbing his eyes. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, you didn't do anything wrong. Alara and I are having some grown-up problems, and I want to make sure you feel safe." I woke up Isabel and Felix next, telling them the same thing. Isabel, being 13, understood more than her younger brothers. "Is this about Mom going to that party?" she asked. "Partly," I said honestly, "but mostly it's about Mom forgetting what family means." Alara was waiting at the bottom of the stairs when we came down with her overnight bags. "You can't take those kids," she said. "Watch me," I replied. "Hugo is Liam's son, and I'm his legal guardian. Isabel and Felix are my children, too, and I'm not leaving them with someone who's making threats and planning to destroy our family. I'll call the police." "Go ahead. Tell them you want your husband arrested for taking his children to his friend's house after you threatened to use them as weapons in a custody battle." For the first time that night, Alara looked uncertain. She hadn't expected me to fight back. As we headed toward the door, I stopped and turned around. "One more thing," I said. "Take off Liam's ring." "What?" "That ring represents family loyalty and commitment. You've proven you don't understand what either of those things mean. Take it off. You can't make me." "That ring belongs to Hugo," I said firmly. "It's his inheritance from his father. You're not worthy to wear it." Alara's face flushed with anger, but she slowly pulled the ring off her finger and set it on the kitchen counter. I picked it up and put it in my pocket. "Kids, let's go." As we drove to my friend James's house, Hugo asked quietly, "Uncle Arthur, what's going to happen to us?" "We're going to be okay," I told him. "Whatever happens, we're family and family takes care of each other." In my pocket, Liam's ring felt warm against my hand. I thought about my brother and what he would say if he knew his ring had been worn during his widow's betrayal of our family. Liam had always said that ring came with responsibility, the responsibility to protect the Harrison name and values. Alara had broken that trust, but I wasn't going to let her break our family. Whatever came next, I was going to fight for these kids and the memory of the man who trusted me to do right by his son. The ring belonged to Hugo, but until he was old enough to understand its meaning, I was going to keep it safe from people who would use it to mock everything it represented. 3 months later, the truth about that night came out during our divorce proceedings. The person who sent me those videos was Marcus Olson, a 44-year-old married father who'd been at Sylvie's party with his own cheating wife. Marcus had recognized Alara from school events. Our kids went to the same elementary school, and he'd been disgusted watching her make a fool of herself while wearing what he correctly guessed was a wedding ring that didn't belong to her. "I knew you deserved to know," Marcus told me when we met for coffee. "My wife cheated on me 2 years ago, and I wish someone had told me sooner instead of letting me live in denial." But Marcus's real revelation was about the party itself. It wasn't Sylvie's birthday party. It was what she called a lifestyle party, essentially a gathering for married people looking to cheat on their spouses. "Sylvie's been running these parties for years," Marcus explained. "She targets wives who are feeling neglected or bored, introduces them to single men or other married men looking for affairs. It's like a cheating club with a membership fee." The $15,000 Alara had charged on her secret credit card hadn't been for spa treatments and networking lunches. It had been for Sylvie's parties, expensive clothes to wear to them, and hotel rooms for her affairs. "Your wife wasn't Sylvie's friend," Marcus said. "She was Sylvie's client." During the custody hearing, all of this came out. Alara's lawyer tried to paint me as controlling and emotionally abusive, but the evidence was overwhelming. Text messages between Alara and Sylvie discussing finding her the right match, hotel receipts for rooms booked under fake names, and testimony from other party attendees who had witnessed her behavior. The judge wasn't impressed with Alara's claims of emotional abuse when confronted with evidence that she'd been living a double life for months while I worked to support our family. "Mrs. Alara," Judge Schneider said during the final hearing, "your allegations of controlling behavior appear to be projections of guilt rather than legitimate complaints. The evidence shows that you systematically deceived your husband while he supported your family financially and emotionally. I was awarded primary custody of all 3 children, including Hugo. Alara got supervised visitation every other weekend and was required to attend counseling before those visits could become unsupervised. The financial settlement was straightforward. I kept the businesses Liam and I had built together, the house, and most of our assets. Alara kept her event planning business and the debt she'd accumulated pursuing her secret life. For months after the divorce was finalized, I found myself in a place I never expected to be. Genuinely happy. The kids were thriving. Isabel's grades had improved dramatically once the tension in our house disappeared, and she'd become an incredible big sister to both Felix and Hugo. Felix was excelling in soccer and had made new friends in our neighborhood. Hugo was still in therapy, but he was laughing more and asking fewer questions about whether he was going to be sent away. "Uncle Arthur," Hugo said one evening as we worked on homework together, "do you think my dad would be proud of how we handled everything?" I looked at this resilient 9-year-old who'd lost his father, survived his stepmother's betrayal, and come through it all, with his heart intact. "Your dad would be incredibly proud of all of us," I told him, "especially you." The co-working business was booming. Without the stress of hiding money problems and dealing with Alara's schemes, I was able to focus on expansion. We'd opened 2 new locations and were considering franchising opportunities. Liam's ring sat in a safe deposit box, waiting for Hugo to turn 18. Until then, it was protected from anyone who might use it for purposes that would dishonor what it represented. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious, but I was learning to trust my judgment about people. The experience with Alara had taught me to pay attention to actions rather than words, to notice when someone's behavior didn't match their promises. One Sunday afternoon, while the kids were playing in a backyard, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Alara asking if we could talk about working things out for the sake of the children. I showed the message to Isabel, who is now 14 and wise beyond her years. "What do you think, Dad?" she asked. I think some bridges are meant to stay burned, I said, deleting the message. We're doing just fine without her drama. Isabel smiled and went back to helping Hugo with his science project. Outside, Felix was teaching Hugo how to throw a football properly. This was my family now. Not the family I planned on, but the family I'd chosen to fight for when it mattered most. We'd been tested by betrayal, manipulation, and threats, but we'd come through it stronger. Liam would have been proud of what we'd built from the ashes of what we'd lost. His son was safe, loved, and growing up surrounded by people who understood what family loyalty really meant. Sometimes the best revenge is simply building a better life without the people who try to destroy the one you had.